What is my favourite EQ in the box? Hi, welcome to the Crates Motel. My name's Conan. Today's video is going to be a bit shorter than usual. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing. A question that I get asked quite a lot is, what's my favourite EQ in the box? It's an almost impossible question to answer, but if I was absolutely pushed and I had to answer it, I would go for the Maag EQ4, which is available from Plugin Alliance, but also on the UAD platform. Quick reason is I love its simplicity. It's a very musical EQ. Most of all, I can't remember the last time I didn't use it on a mix down for a client or in my own productions. I was using it yesterday on a remix, and I remembered somebody asked me about my favourite EQ the other day. So I thought I'd just quickly run through how I use it, in this case on the snare bus. So let's jump in. So here we are in Studio One. This is a remix that I was mixing down yesterday. You can see what it is up here. Not really going to be able to play it because I'll get a massive copyright strike and probably get struck down from the heavens above. I'll give you a very, very quick blast. That's probably as much as I can play without a copyright strike. So I'm just going to mute the bass guitar, the instrument bus and the vocals. Yes, we just got the drums now. There is actually the original drums laid very lightly underneath. Over the top there was two new kick drums layered, some snares and some claps layered in this bus, some hi-hats layered in this bus, and a little bit of percussion, live percussion here, which was congas and a shaker, I believe. As you can see, I've used the Maag 4 on the snare bus here, and it is the place that I use the Maag on nearly every single mix I do. I'll be honest, for the last 10 years, I guess. I did own the hardware. It's one of the only hardware pieces I actually missed, to be honest, since I went 100% in the box. And I've used it on the hi-hats here as well, actually, probably on 10 kilohertz. Yeah, there we go. So really what I wanted to just go into today very quickly was why I love the Maag so much. It might be pronounced Maag, not sure. I say Maag. Why I love the Maag so much, and just quickly kind of why I use it and why I do reach for it quite a lot. Firstly, I absolutely love the simplicity of it. I'm a mastering engineer, have been for 27 years or so, but I do still do mixes for clients, and also I mix down a lot of my own productions as well. So I do actually use the Maag in mastering sometimes, but I think the reason why I like it is just years and years of mastering. I do like broad stroke EQs, and I like EQs that have a bit of character. And more often than not always, but more often than not, broad stroke EQs do tend to have a bit more character because you have a particular frequency, you can't choose the frequency, the curves are going to be all different on the different EQs, Pultec's different, the Maag's different, various other ones, you know, a lot of mastering EQs, for instance, the Sontec, you do have a bit more of a choice, but you can't be like absolutely precise. You know, it tends to be clicking all the way through it rather than just going through it gradually. So maybe that's why I like it, just through years and years of mastering. And like I said, I have used it for mastering before, quite often around about 20 and 40, just to open things up. I won't tend to use these, maybe the sub occasionally, but it's used in a very broad stroke. And I guess I am using it quite broadly on the snares. You know, the reason why I love it on snares is snare drums in particular. 160 is a really nice frequency for live snares especially, but also for program snares off the 909, the 808, stuff like that. It gives it some body, but it doesn't add too much mud. 650, as you can see, I've pulled it back just a little bit here, and that was probably because there is sometimes a little bit of boxiness on snare drums. The snare drum here, I believe it was a Oberheim snare drum off a drum machine and a live snare and some live claps. They're layered together here on the snare bus or low percussion bus here. 2.5 is a nice frequency for snares to just kind of give it a bit of crispness and a bit of clarity. And then you can see I've just pushed 5K a little bit here as well. Let's just listen to the snare in the mix. There is actually a DBX 160 on there as well, which is doing a little bit of compression. That compression, that ratio, just adds a little bit of punch. So let's just solo. I'll leave the DBX in for now. Nice and crisp, bit of punch, which the DBX has added, and it just sounds nice and clean, but there's still some body in there as well. It doesn't sound brittle, not to me anyway. So I'm going to go into bypass, and you'll hear it's going to be a subtle difference, but I do think you'll be able to hear the difference. Cleaned up a little bit. There's a little bit of boxiness, added a little bit of body, and just a bit of clarity at 2.5. And then, yeah, it just opens it up a little bit on 5. I may have gone to 10 sometimes. The way that the curve works on the airband, if you were to put it in plug-in Doctor, it's, it doesn't start at 5. It starts way, way down. And this is the thing about the famous airband at 40 that everyone goes on about, where they say, oh yeah, I always stick 40 on it because it pushes those frequencies. Well, as I'm sure most of you know, you can't actually hear 40 kilohertz unless you're a dog or a dolphin or an alien. So, but what it's doing is it starts way, way, way down. I'm not exactly sure where. Somebody please write in the comments where it starts. I haven't put it through plug-in Doctor because I don't generally use plug-in Doctor. But it starts from way down and it creates this lovely kind of gentle curve. But for snares, I tend to go for 2.5 or 5, or I have it switched off completely. In this case, 2.5. So let's just put it in and out of bypass, and we'll put it in the mix. We'll have it solo as well. There is a tiny bit of level difference. Let's just take this down a little bit. So you can hear it's just a bit crisper, still got a bit of body, and I've just cleaned up a little kind of bit of the boxiness and the mud that you get on live snares. And what it's done is it's taken the room out of the equation a little bit. Not very much. Let's just listen to it in the mix. What I usually do when I'm doing things like snares and stuff in the mix is, you can see what I just did there, is I'll push it further than it needs to go and then just take it back a little bit until I can't really hear it anymore. And then maybe I'll play around in that kind of area. I think I settled for +1. Can hear it a lot more on 1.5. It sounds nice on either. On a different day, I may have pushed it to 2. Now I think on the hats, just quickly, yeah, on the hats I've rolled a little bit of the 160 off. And I've gone for 10K just to give it, just to brighten it up a little bit. But again, it's a gentle curve, so it doesn't sound too essy, you know. Really opens it up for me. If you're in headphones, you'll be able to hear, it closes in with it bypassed and just opens it up. Probably what's happening is although it isn't mid-side, it's it's the EQ is on stereo in this case. It's kind of opening up the sides of the hi-hats, tiny little bit of reverb from the room. You can push it quite far. I mean, I push up to 4 or 5. It's still sounds nice in the mix there, to be honest. So there you have it. Really, really quick video on why I love the Maag 4, how I use it sometimes. What I do often hear, and I think a point I want to make here actually. Now this, some people might not like this, but I do hear a lot of people say about the Maag 4 in particular, but this does apply to a lot of plugins. They'll say, oh yeah, I use the 40K on vocals. And I do hear that a lot, and I read it a lot, and a lot of people have made videos about it. And I believe that I've read some quite high-end engineers do use it in that way. I know Dave Pensado uses it pretty much on most vocals from quoting him himself saying that. And But what worries me is a lot of people will read things and they'll see things on YouTube and they'll see something like that. You know, it's a big statement. Take this particular EQ, whack it up to 40 and just put it on every single vocal that you've got and they'll sound amazing and there'll be loads of air. That worries me a little bit. The reason why it worries me is because something I do say to a lot of students, a lot of people that I talk to about mixing and mastering is about doing things by default, learning a technique and applying it to every single thing that you work on. That doesn't work. It's simple. It just doesn't. And what worries me is when, you know, I mean, I actually asked somebody the other day, somebody that I tutor online, we were talking about EQs and stuff, and I brought up the Maag, and he said, yeah, I love it. Yeah, I always whack it up to 40 and put it on all my vocals. And not to put him on the spot, and I wasn't trying to, you know, make him look silly or belittle him in any way. I said to him, why do you do that? And he paused. It was a Zoom meeting, so I could see his facial expressions. And he didn't know. And I can't, you know, we kind of had a little bit of a laugh about it. And he suddenly had a light bulb moment. He said, yeah, do you know what? You're right. I don't know why I do it. I do it because I read it somewhere. I do it because everyone else does it. I see it on forums all the time. He'd seen it on Gearspace or somewhere like that. And somebody had said, yeah, Maag 4, whack it up to 40, put it on all vocals, air, you know, this whole air thing. So using, you know, I kind of said to him, using that as an example, don't read these things. Don't always use the same. If you find a technique that's amazing, and believe me, the 40K on the Maag is amazing on some vocals, on some snare drums, some guitars, some whatevers, but it doesn't work on everything and you can't apply it on everything. And making statements like, yeah, I always use the Maag 4, I whack the 40K up, it doesn't work, it's misleading. And I think I always use that one as the example for don't do things by default. But I'm not knocking it. I do love the 40K on it and I do use it sometimes. So just quickly, that was a video just really showing how I use it in the mix. I do use it on snares. I can't remember the last time I didn't use it on a snare bus. I love the sound of it. I love the broad strokes. I love the simplicity. I love the musicality of the frequencies that you've got to choose. E flat, I believe most of them, I think all the way through are 40, 160, 650s, round about E flat at 440. Yeah, it's an amazing EQ. And if I had to choose my favorite EQ in the box and out of the box, actually, considering I love the hardware so much and it's one of the only pieces of hardware I miss, I would probably choose the Maag 4. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more mixing and mastering tutorials and reviews. This is the Crates Motel. My name's Conan. Till next time.